Today I'm going to teach you how to make a mask. I would like to dedicate this video to my mom who taught me how to sew and is a charge nurse at a ICU hospital and has made herself and her team fabric masks and bonnets. I love you, Mom, and I always appreciate you, and I know that everyone who is trying to survive this pandemic appreciates you, the many nurses, doctors, phlebotomists, emergency services personnel, EMTs, firefighters, police officers, delivery personnel, grocery store personnel, everyone who is putting their life on the line to try and get us all through this. So thank you, and we love you. If you have access to one of these N95s, that's obviously the best thing. Of course, you should not go outside if you don't have to. We're going to make a cloth reusable mask that you will wash and sanitize after each use. The first step is to make a pattern. I made a very simple pattern for the purpose of this video. It's nothing fancy, just with a standard piece of letter paper that I folded half and then into quarters, and then I cut the corners off. You don't have to do that. The key things are, like with your N95 or like with your typical disposable mask, you want to make sure that it's covering the nose and the mouth, right? So think about that and the size of the person that's going to be wearing it when you are making it. On the advice of my mom, I used a combination of comfortable fabrics and tight knit fabrics. The idea of that is that it's thicker, it's safer. On the outside and inside, I use the fabric from the skirt, and I also use the fabric from the skirt for the ties. And the internal layers of insulation, I used just some leftover upholstery fabric. After I made the pattern and I pinned it, I cut it out. Paper scissors to cut paper and fabric scissors to cut fabric, because fabric scissors are so sharp and so dangerous. I want to do the base stitch first. The way the base stitch works is first you do just a stitch around the pattern, and so as you're stitching around the pattern, you are just helping prevent frays, and that's especially important if you don't have these or if you are using a fabric that frays a lot. So you want to just be very careful about that. You fold over, you pin all the way around the edge. Then iron it. Make sure to remember the type of fabric you're using when you're ironing. And then you want to do a stitch all the way around, and I just did a basic stitch. I think you could do something decorative if you have the sewing machine for it, and if you're into it, but you could even put your name on your mask with your sewing machine. I've done that before, but not on my mask, on my apron. So once you get this part of the mask together and you have your 4 layers here, your inside, your outside, and your insulation layers, you have the option of putting a pocket on the back. Now, when my mom made masks for the hospital, she put pockets in the back, and she also made it a little bit like an accordion, so it kind of is more fitted, which is great if you have the skills to do that. I'm not going to go into how to do that, but it's the same kind of pleat that you would put into let's say a skirt. And the goal of the pocket is that in the future, if there are some kind of a filter that we could use, that you could insert in there. So in terms of the ties, you have a couple of options. My mom recommended fabric ties and doing 2 ties because if you use elastic and you wear it a lot, you can get sores on your ears. Which I didn't know was a problem, but I suppose if you're working long hours in a hospital and you wear a mask all day, every day, you're gonna have to think about things like that. If you do not have the time, the patience, the energy to make ties like this, you can use ribbons, fabric ribbons, either ribbons that are cut out of your skirts, your shirts, for hangers. You can use fabric ribbons from gifts. You can buy fabric ribbon at most grocery stores. And it works really great, and it doesn't fray terribly if you cut it at an angle with a very sharp pair of scissors. That's key. If you cut it like this, it'll just fray continuously. And if you cut it like this pair of sharp scissors, it won't fray as much. Either way, if you tie the end of it into a tight, small knot, just right at the end, it won't fray at all, so keep that in mind. And then you might have something at home that already has an elastic band. So like this wonderful little night cover to help you sleep when you're traveling, like on a plane or something. You can cut this off and put this on your mask. Those are options if you have those things available to you. But anyway, if you don't and you are making the fabric ties, you can kind of fold it in. So what you do is you fold one side in, pin it, iron it, fold the other side in, pin it, iron it, fold it in half, pin it, iron it. You know the words of this tune? Okay. Then you sew, same basic stitch front to back. And I like to start a couple inches in because it's really easy to kind of like knot up your thread in your machine. If you start right on the end, like the loose threads of the fabric and everything will kind of like, and you don't want that. And so you kind of start at the end, go back, then go forward to do your little reverse stitch knot business. Go all the way through, and then once you have your 4 fabric strings, you can add them to your mask in whatever place feels comfortable to you. I tried a couple different positions. I tried up here and down here. It just didn't seem to work based on the size of my mask and the size of my head. So then I did the angles, and that actually fit a lot better. So whatever works for you. Once that's done and you're completely ready to go and you have your beautiful mask prepared, I recommend that you put it somewhere by the door where you'll see it when you leave, whatever place where you, like maybe by your keys, I don't know, so that you remember to grab it. Unlike reusable grocery bags, this is not a thing where there's just this plentiful supply at the grocery store. You can just pick one up if you forget. So you want to put things in place to ensure you don't forget. If you have lots of clothes that you can live without, now is a great time for you to make a mask for yourself, for your loved ones, for whomever comes to deliver your next grocery delivery. If you are fortunate enough to live somewhere with grocery delivery, for the people who you care about in your life, for your neighbors, for whomever you know. We are the largest sewing circle ever, and we can work together to help prepare each other and ourselves as much as we can to survive this. So that's how to make a very basic cloth mask. Thank you to everyone who is trying to keep us all safe. Thank you to my friends and family who have been so supportive and loving over the last 2 years since my daughter passed. And I just hope that everybody tries to stay safe, tries to treat each other with care and kindness, and remember that there's another side to this. We'll get through it, and we'll be smarter, and we'll be stronger, and we'll be better prepared for the next one. So thank you all.